Welcome to the RavensSpace on YouTube. My name is Jason, and this is a RavensSpace Daily, where we talk about Baltimore Ravens news every single weekday. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We'll hop right into our first topic. But first, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe so you never miss any cool Baltimore Ravens videos. Also, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up on different things. And we even put special content to our social medias. How you guys doing? I'm just giving you guys some insights, some behind the curtain stuff. I recorded this episode before I heard about the Victor Cruz signing to the Bears. So I decided to put this in and delete the first part of the video. So to just give you guys the information, Victor Cruz has officially signed with the Chicago Bears. It's a one-year deal. So that means he's officially out of the sweepstakes for the Baltimore Ravens. Again, please excuse the hurried atmosphere of this section. We'll get back to the more professional type of atmosphere for the other section. For example, you can see my microphone, which I don't usually let you guys see my microphone in RavensSpace dailies, maybe in mailbags, but not in dailies. But he's signed. He's officially off the docket for the Baltimore Ravens. So if you guys, really wanted Victor Cruz, I'm sorry to say that he is no longer an option for the Ravens. So now, if we're going to sign someone, we're going to have to sign Anquan Boldin, even though I have been hearing that the other receivers have been performing great, as in Wallace and Perriman. It is official now that there's no longer an option for Victor Cruz. Boldin is the only option in free agency that the Ravens have talked to. Again, he won't sign until the end of the OTAs, but give you guys that update. Victor Cruz is no more a chance for the Baltimore Ravens. Thank you guys so much. Now we'll get back to the normal flow, which I recorded earlier. Thank you guys so much, and see you at the end of the episode. And we're going to move on to the next topic of the day, which comes from OTAs, and it's about Terrell Suggs being held out. And Terrell Suggs is a healthy scratch, but I really want to tell you guys the different injuries and, what this means to me. There's a big one that I think that you guys might want to hear. So there are 8 players that missed OTAs, and they are Marshall Yonder, CJ Mosley, Benjamin Watson, Max Williams, Darren Waller, Kyle Arrington, Carlos Davis, and Jarrell Bronxton. And so what this says to me, there's a good thing, is that one, Marshall, Mosley are at there working out and different things like that. The big name that I thought here that was surprising to me was Benjamin Watson. And it's not because, he wouldn't be ready. I thought he was going to be ready. But every day that Benjamin Watson doesn't play, he gets closer to getting cut from the team. There's too many tight ends, to not play. And if you ever played a ball in Little League or college or whatever, or high school, you know that if you're not on the field, someone's out there taking your job. And in the NFL, there's kind of a written rule about this, but this rule has been going away. I've seen more players get their job taken because of injury than in any situations in the past. So I think that Watson, should be worried that he won't make the team. The more he doesn't play, the closer he is to getting cut. And I truly do believe that. So, but again, Max Williams is another one too, who's injured. And Max Williams has an injury problem, and if he can't make the field, he's going to get cut. We can only keep 3 tight ends, right? Unless we place one of them on IR or something like that. But, Max Williams, Benjamin Watson, and Darren Waller didn't play, in OTAs. So they have to get in if they want to, have a chance to start on the Baltimore Ravens. So, and then the last story of the day is a super interesting story. And it's just because I'm going to tell you guys who the starting offensive line was today in OTAs. And it's going to give you some insight into which player is going to be where for the offensive line. So I'll read them out to you. Left tackle, Ronnie Stanley. We knew that. Left guard, Alex Lewis. So what this tells me is that Alex Lewis will not be a center. He will not be moving out the tackle. He will be the left guard. Ryan Jensen's at center. So there's 2, and then I would say the next one too. John Urschel's at right guard. So what this says to me is that they like Ryan Jensen more than they like John Urschel at that center position, because if you play the right guard position, you know Yonder's going to come and take your job, right? Like when he gets off of injury, he'll be there to take your job. So I don't think that the two rookies are going to be moved into that center spot. I think that's Ryan Jensen's spot right now. Unless Nick Mangold comes, Ryan Jensen, I think, will be the starting center for the Baltimore Ravens. And then lastly, at right tackle, James Hurst. I think James Hurst that's his spot until we sign a free agent. And I haven't heard of the Ravens really talking to any right tackle free agents. So I don't know if they just devalue the position or they, value center more or whatever, but it's, this is our offensive line right now. Ronnie Stanley, Alex Lewis, Ryan Jensen, Marshall Yonda, and James Hurst. So again, I don't think Ryan Jensen's going to lose that job. I really don't. And James Hurst may lose his job to someone else. But unless Mango comes in, this is our offensive line. So let me know how you guys feel about it. Them getting some work in always helps. Like I said, when Yonda comes, the team will be more cohesive, and so the offensive line will get better. But again, I'm worried about that center position. Ryan Jensen, I would maybe prefer John Urschel, but if Ryan has to step up and play, he'll play. Again, Harbaugh said that he's a tone setter and his skills fit the center position better than the other players on the roster. So we'll see what happens for offensive line. But again, the offensive line today, the starters today, Ronnie Stanley, Alex Lewis, Ryan Jensen, Marshall Yonda, and James Hurst. Let me know how you feel about that offensive line down in the comments below. And like we do at the end of every show, we have a question. And this question, please forgive me if I missay your name, but this question is from Walter. And Walter asks, I understand that the Ravens' run game was awful last year, but surprisingly to me is how much we were running the ball out of the shotgun formation as opposed to the I form or the running back behind Flacco. Every time we did a run out of these two formations, the offensive line was able to generate a push. Every time we did a run out of these formations, the offensive line was able to generate a push, and Weston Dixon can make a cut and run downhill. Did you see the same thing as I did? What do you think the Ravens need to change in order to get the running game going? Thank you so much for your question, Walter. And I'll just say this. I think you're right on some things. So first I'll say that the play that I hated the most from the Baltimore Ravens was the shotgun toss play. It was so bad. And the point of the play, is to get the running back quickly in space, but it's also to chop off the line, right? So when I say chop off, instead of starting in the I formation where you have to go to a certain section, but every person on the defensive line is in play, when you do that quick toss, you're depending on your three offensive linemen. So let's say you do a quick toss to the left. You're depending on the left tackle, your left guard, and your center to control if it's a 4-3, the two defensive linemen. If it's a 3-4, that one defensive lineman. And then you get some space, and then you have to, get bodies on linebackers and things like that. But it didn't work. It was terribly ran. And I was super disappointed in that. And I hated that play. And every time we ran it, I was like, this sucks. So that supports your point. I think the key to the running game is to have trust. If you're going to carry a fullback, use the fullback and scheme it up correctly. Okay. There's no problem running the shotgun if, you are able to throw passes past 10 yards, right? Because what happens is if you throw quick slants, you're not scheming it up right, because it's a benefit now to have your linebackers in the box, right? Because if most of your big plays are on quick slants, you bring a safety up. That's how you stop a quick slant. You keep the linebackers in the box. That's how you stop a quick slant, right? The quick slant is so hard just for the cornerback to stop alone that you bring somebody up. But when you do that, now the run game can't work. Teams who ran the ball effectively stretch the field vertically and run the ball when it's in select downs in order to, be able to take those shots. When the Ravens ran the ball effectively, that's what we did. Okay, you throw the ball deep, the safety can't come to the box, and you're able to run the ball. So that's what I think. I think there's three things. Have faith, use power formations. If you're going to carry a fullback, you have to use them, and scheme it up right. Okay, if you're going to be a zone running team, zone running teams usually use the fullback less. If you're going to be a power running team, put the fullback in there. Use the two tight end sets and do what you got to do. And that's how you have to have trust. And whatever your scheme is, scheme it right and trust it. So that's what I think will help. And, of course, having a better offensive line wouldn't help. But, everyone says that, right? Every running game would be better if you had a better offensive line. But I think they just have to scheme it up right, trust it, and I think it should be better than last year. Thank you so much for your question, Walter. And that's it for today. Please, if you have questions, send it to TheRavensSpace@gmail.com. Also, please subscribe to TheRavensSpace on YouTube and follow us on our social media. Thank you guys so much, and go Ravens.